love these things with interview with another, and I'm so appreciated to find the time to be a guest on the channel. It's a big honor for me, and I know that people will be very interested about everything like we talk about.
Well, you're lucky I like you. That's why I'm doing this interview with you. So it's all
thank you so much. Thank you so much.
Okay, guys, just to let you know, we are officially live. So Dave, thank you so much for being here with us. It's a pleasure. Just to know how much of your time we have, so we don't keep you too long.
Half hour, however long it takes, that's fine. So,
okay.
Also want to say thank you so much again, Dave, to be on this channel. Like I said, it's big pleasure for me. And like I said before, like Dave, for me and for lots of Eastern guys, it's like representative of pure power of the West, like not something which we can do by magic, but when you need to train hard to build this type of power, which is very respected by our Eastern guys and of course by me. So, and also big respect for Dave for all he do for the arm wrestling before, and the shape he represented nowadays. It's amazing. It's I think it's top of the top level of the power in arm wrestling.
Well, thanks. I appreciate that coming from you and all the guys that think that, because I do put a lot of work into my training and stuff, and then it's nice that it actually pays off. People see that the work that I put in, so it's pretty cool. Thank you.
Yeah. And actually, I want to ask you a few questions before this guy wants to ask, because he will be asking you a lot
Okay.
about training, because like your style is very powerful. You prefer to work out at the gym or like prefer more table time? Like what is your favorite?
Well, I do both. I do table time once a week, because when I do table time, it's hard. I'm using guys using two arms against me, and sometimes bands and stuff. So anymore, my elbow can't take any more than once a week. If I do more than that, it just hurts too much. Probably because I do a lot of gym time too. Actually, my gym basically is in my garage now. I have like a cable machine that I hooked up to the wall, a pulley that I hook my up to my tables and stuff like that. I have like a preacher machine that I do one arm preacher curls with. I do work out at my work at the prison. There's a gym in there too. I do that a couple of days a week where they have dumbbells. I do dumbbells. It's just basically biceps, triceps, and stuff like that, and then some more cable stuff. But yeah, that's basically what I do. Gym work probably 5 days a week, and then table time 1 day a week.
And actually want to ask also, you have like a lot of competitions now. Before you now, the East of the West, the next, which will be in August. And for example, before the competitions, how long you take a rest, or like you rest before competitions, or not just less workout? How you feel before
this? I do definitely rest, and I probably should take more now because I pulled you in April, and then I pulled Gennady in May. I mean, for me that's usually not enough time to in between matches. I would like a lot more time. I'm getting old and I'm hurt, and it takes me a lot more time to recover. And I'm pulling again in a few weeks. So, but in terms of workout time in between my match, I usually take about at least 2 weeks off from table time before I compete. This time it'll be about 2.5 weeks I'll take off before because we'll practice on a Wednesday and I compete on that 6th is a Saturday. So it'll be about 2.5 weeks of rest on the table before I, between table time practice and competition. And then probably, weight wise, working out in the gym. I'll still work out that week before, but real lightweight, just to keep some blood flow. Basically, I'll go heavy in the gym up until 1 week out.
I see. And this comes to my next question, because in our match, it was like you was so more powerful than me. Like you sent me to primary school to take a very good lesson. I really appreciate it, because like I always say that sometimes these type of situations motivates you much more to train properly, and you learn something new. And after that, honestly, it was unexpected for me, and I believe that unexpected for a lot of guys. Like at the beginning of the match with Gennady, it was expected, and round number 3, it was unexpected. So I want to ask you, what was your feelings during the match with me? Like you was confident and much more powerful. in the beginning of match with Gennady, probably looks at the beginning like the same, but after the changes. So what was happened? I mean, for example, your feelings during the match with me and your feelings the same match with Gennady, how it was?
Well, we gripped up the first time. I didn't know what to expect. I mean, I'd seen you. We never really pulled before, but I'd seen you. You were crushing everybody. So I was definitely a little nervous going in, not knowing what to expect. And then that first match, you know, it was solid. We were right there. And then I made a little adjustment. I think honestly, I think just you got a little more tired than me is what I thought was what happened. Honestly, like I think we were right there.
I was feel that I'm so weak compared to you that day.
No, I don't think so. I think you're right there. Honestly, I just think that you just got a little more tired than me. I think that's all that happened. Maybe one little adjustment. That's it. Which I'm not going to tell you because there's probably going to be a rematch sometime. So I'm not going to give you my hints or anything like that. But with Gennady, as the first two matches, I felt great, and then the third match, my arm unfortunately it got pumped up, and I ran out of gas. It's unfortunate. I really, honestly, in my mind, I should have won the match. It's my fault. There's nothing I can do about it, but just train more endurance basically the next time. That's the only thing that really happened, I think.
I see. And do you ever like train also cardio or only like heavy liftings and more power training? How you like?
I'll train weight wise. I'll work for endurance, and I should have done more for the match against Gennady. I definitely should have done more stamina wise. I don't do any cardio wise. Like if you're talking about like running or anything like that, I do nothing like that. I walk around the block with my wife sometimes. That's about it. That's all the cardio you're going to get from me. But I do stamina stuff like static holds, and I'm training a little bit more for that for this match. Hopefully I don't run out of gas. That would not be good. So yeah, I do that, but cardio wise, I don't run or anything like that. No.
I see. So, okay, Isa, I know that you want to ask too much special questions for Dave, so I give you the word to go with you.
Thank you, Alex. Yeah, as I said, it's an honor to interview Dave because as an American, you know, usually Americans are not liked other than John Berzunk in Europe, but you are also an exception. Like European loves you. I think it's because of your incredible strength and fundamental arm wrestling technique. The politically correct, and also because of your pressure, it's like a European kind of like. So thank you, Dave, again for doing this. I just want to maybe start with your thoughts on the recent matches between John and Corey and Michael and Todd.
Okay, John and Corey. I didn't see the whole match. I seen some of the highlights of their matches. Corey's looking strong. Like in a hook, he's really, really strong. I really think he's getting there. And eventually he'll be where he wants to be. He's working his way up the ladder. John, you know, knows what he has to do to beat pretty much any opponent, and he definitely did what he had to do, like John always does. Michael and Todd Hutchings, I kind of thought it was going to go the way it did. Todd's like myself, isn't, you know, he's not great with King's move pullers. Unfortunately, he's just all that side and stuff, and I just figured Michael would bleed him out, basically like he did, and then Todd kind of ran out of gas. And when he does, Michael knows when to go in for the kill with that press, and that's pretty much what happened. So
yeah, it is true. And Dave, just a quick curiosity: where does your name Easy Money comes from?
This comes from in 2013, the 2013 Arnold Classic. I was in the finals against Don Underwood, and I was all fired up. I won the Arnold, and for some reason, I just turned around and yelled "Easy Money." I don't know why. I did, and then the people at work started making, busting my balls, making fun of me. So, "Oh, Easy Money," and it kind of stuck. And then we needed a nickname for WAL, and then that's where it came from, Easy Money. So it's been Easy Money ever since. So yeah, kind of funny.
Yeah, such a fun story. Also, it's a part of your character and your signature, because also one thing you always do is, for example, in the last round, if you're absolutely dominating an opponent, you would just let the last round go. Like, what did you do that? It's like a thing that you just do out of respect, or I don't know.
Yeah, it's just basically out of respect. Like, you know, the other guy, he's my opponent. I just give him the win. I mean, he's there. there's no reason for me to win 6-0. I've won the match, so I just, why not make it 5-1 or 4-2 or whatever it is.
Yeah.
So that's why, basically.
Okay. What a great guy. Wanted to ask you, the biggest match in history happened just like not even a month ago between Devon and Levon. Of course, you pulled both. You are very familiar with the both athletes. So what are your thoughts about that? Also, could you go briefly in how did Levon feel? Because you're one of the few guys who pulled with him, and we know he's amazing, but I would like to know your thoughts about it.
Levon, he's so strong. Like he's just, his hand is ridiculously powerful. It was hard for me to even slip out. I would love to pull him in the straps. I really think he's like here, and there's a bunch of us that are right here. Could we get there? Yeah, but I don't think anybody's there yet. But it's possible for any one of the other 5-6 top guys to get there. The match between Devon and Levon kind of went how I kind of expected it to go. I thought Devon could have a chance if he could stop him. There was a chance that Levon could gas out, but in feeling both of them, I knew Levon was, head and shoulders strength wise above Devon. It is what it is. And that's kind of how it went, basically. Devon couldn't stop him, and that was it, basically. It was crazy just to see Levon, how strong he really is. I knew how strong he was. It just, for everybody else to see how strong he is like, wow.
Yeah, it's truly a head above all the others. On that note, I want to ask you, what are your thoughts about the rankings in the world? I know that you're a guy who doesn't even care about who you're gonna pull. You just want to pull like Vitali, whoever. Just give it
to anybody.
Them. So, do you think it holds value? Like we should like consider rankings very important? And also, if so, could you give us your ranking? Maybe top 5.
Rankings are hard. Like I think there's value in rankings. But with arm wrestling, it's like I said, it's tough to tell right now. You got Levon right here, and then you got Alex, you got myself, Gennady, you got Michael and Jerry there, and Vitali. I know I'm missing Hermes. He's right there too. All those guys, they're right there. So any Devon, any of those 6-7 guys could be 2 through 7, 8. It's crazy. Like I really think it'd be cool to have like a little tournament between everybody else, and then the winner gets to pull Levon. I think that would be fun, something like that. Because I can't rank anybody from personally like exact from 2 down to 7, 8. That's a tough one. But yeah, Levon, and then 2 through 8's like a random order, I think. So
yeah, absolutely. I tend to agree with you. Maybe like something like the Russian A1 would be cool to bring back, like the top dog.
That was a fun tournament. I love the A1. Man. I love going over there and pulling that. That was one of my favorite tournaments there. That was a good time.
Oh my god! Yeah, I remember because like it was you and Pushkar and it was John at some point.
John,
Azimura, Tsiplankov and Liliev, and oh my god, that was nuts. We've never seen
the talent. The talent there was insane. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh my god, crazy. Dave, I don't know if you're familiar with YouTube, but for example, like now people are watching us live and they can submit questions, and this has to be the funniest question. Is asking, Dave, have you ever pulled some naturally talented prisoners? Would you ever host a prison event?
I think it would be cool to have like a prison event. Technically, we're not allowed to arm wrestle like any of the prisoners. I'm not saying it may or may not have ever happened. It maybe not. I can't, say for sure. Might have, been some fun stuff going on here and there. But there's some naturally strong guys in the prison that if they ever learn to arm wrestle, they could be good. And I think it would be like super cool to have like a little arm wrestling tournament in the prison. That'd be fun.
Yeah, and for my next question, this is always so interesting to me because when I ask to a guy like you, who is basically a veteran of the sport with many decades on his shoulder, and it's a hard question, but what is your proudest victory or maybe your proudest moment in the sport?
There's probably a couple. Winning the world title in 2010, WAF was pretty cool because when I first started, I broke my arm in 2007. It was my second tournament, so I had to take a year off. I came back in 2008, and I worked my way up. I wasn't expecting to win. I went there and won the title. It was pretty cool because it was in the United States, and you got the whole crowd cheering USA for you. They're all backing you. That was pretty awesome. And then also, you know, in 2013, going over to Nemiroff and pulling Dennis and beating him that first time. Like no one expected that. That was pretty incredible. So it was fun.
Mm-hmm. And correct me if I'm wrong. Is it true that when you broke your arm, maybe rumors, but your dad told you to find another hobby and you had to forget arm wrestling?
He definitely did. My dad, you know, he was my biggest fan. He always through high school, and he always followed my sports, even up until I started arm wrestling. He always followed me and everything, and he was there. And you know, he took me, you know, he went to the hospital because it was out of town, but he was still there at the tournament. It was like 5 hours away from where we live. And he was like, "Yeah, maybe it's time you find a new hobby." And I basically was like, "No way, there's no way I'm doing it," because in my mind I knew I could be good. You know, if it's just something I really love to do, even though I just started doing it. You know, and yeah, he did definitely say that. But that was my dad there. He told me how he thought it was all the time. So yeah.
Yeah, I remember. And a couple of years later, you're standing there with the American flag, raising your hands in the air, champion of the world.
Yeah. He was there too. He came to, you know, he traveled across the country to watch me win the world title too. He was my biggest fan. So yeah, he definitely was.
Yeah, amazing. You mentioned Tsiplenkov, and wow, like your matches with him, that was just one of the greatest match of all time. Like you and him fighting for the center, you bring him the other side, he's bringing you the other side. It was just nuts. Could you go briefly about how did Tsiplenkov feel, maybe compared also to Levon, but like also his hand, his power, because you could bring him almost to the pad, but that last few inches, you just couldn't bring him to the pad. His defensive hook was amazing.
Yeah, I couldn't get him, and then there was so close so many times with Dennis, and then I would just get tired. He was so strong inside, like it was just incredible, and he was so fun to pull because we were so competitive. And you know, I'd go over to Nemiroff, and then we pulled into A1 going over to Russia, and it was cool because a lot of people cheering for me over there too, which was pretty crazy. That was incredible. His strength inside was absurd. His hand is giant. Levon's strength is different, and Levon's hand is absurd. Like I could slip out of Dennis's hand, but I'd have to work to get out of Levon because his grip is so strong, and it's a different type of strength, and I'm a different type of puller than I was, you know, 10 years ago. So it's hard. To me, it's apples and oranges. It's hard to compare, you know, who's better, who's stronger. Both, you know, the top guys of their era. That's all I'm going to say, basically.
Yeah, and I'm sure, Alex, you've seen the matches between Dennis and Dave. Like,
of course,
for me, that was like top 5 greatest matches of all time. That was something.
I will add something because like a lot of our guys watching the match on the Zloty, yeah, and the Nemiro World Cup, he like after that he posted Zloty, and it was really unexpected that a lot of guys say, "Oh, Dave is so strong, so big," but I don't know how it will be with Dennis. And after that, like everybody cheering, like everybody saying, "Wow, what the hell has happened?" Like, because it was like beginning, and then it's boom, and Dave goes to the pad, you know, like goes to the pad like a tank. And no one expected. Honestly, that day, for Eastern guys, if you take like these guys, no one expected that something like this happened, and Dave actually won, you know. That was the biggest answer of the level of Dave's power. Like until today, for myself also, it's like the level of power of Dave. I think in the side pressure, Dave's hand is one of the strongest in the world. Of course, we also have Richard, also very respectful, and respect big for Richard. But I believe that definitely Dave's side pressure is something special. That everyone can, I think, agree with me about this.
Yeah, oh my God. And if I'm not wrong, Travis was in the audience cheering you up or something. I think I saw some footage of you pulling with the, was it maybe I'm mistaken?
That might have been a different one.
Okay. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And on that note, who do you think is the strongest American you've ever faced?
Strongest, like strength-wise, would probably Richard was probably the strongest. Like, but when I pulled him, he's toward the end of his career. He was older. I would have loved to pull him in his prime. Just watching him back in the day just destroy people was incredible. Like that's my favorite footage, just watching him go pow, just killing people.
Yeah,
just incredible. Yeah.
Yeah.
I just love the just straight power arm pullers. That's just, I mean, to me that's where it's at. So
Yeah.
yeah, definitely, I'd say Richard probably.
Yeah, oh my God, the old era of arm wrestling was just gold. You had all those giants killing each other. It was just incredible. History of the sport. Gennady, you faced him back like almost 5 years ago, and you were very dominant. You're very dominant. You beat him very easily, and you faced him a few months ago, and he actually beated you. It was just crazy. Seeing that live was just, oh my! I couldn't believe my eyes. What do you think it went wrong? Is just like endurance, or was something missing?
Yeah, it just got tired. Like the first two matches went as I planned, and then my arm, I could feel it starting to get tired. Like it got blown up. Like, you know, you lift too many weights, you hold too much, your arm gets too pumped up, and I'm starting to not feel my hand now. I'm like, okay, I could be in trouble here. So I tried to finish the round 3 quick, and then he elbow fouled, and then I was like, oh crap, I'm starting to get real tired here. And after that, I couldn't, like, I think he might have pressed in one of the times, and then I caught him, but I was too tired to really like do anything, and I just didn't have the energy to pull through. Like if I still had the endurance, I could have honestly, I got to take his back pressure, probably could take his hand right out of that, because I'm good at doing that. But I just didn't have the energy to do it. And that's my fault. I mean, it is what it is, you know, unfortunately. And I don't want to take anything away from him. He won the match. Definitely hats off to him. He's a competitor. But I could have went differently if, you know, things went, you know, for a little more endurance.
Yeah, and if you could
This is one more thing that everybody respect Dave even more, because Dave never do any excuses. See, like he's humble, even on the table and out of the table. On the table, he represents the highest level of the pure power. And I never like hear from Dave something like this, that it was accidentally something like, oh yeah, it's like, you know, you are the real champion and the table and the out of the table, which I think you're a good example for like growing up arm wrestlers, like to take something from you, because you know sometimes small trash talkings between the guys, it's also to promote something, but people who watching, they need to understand that this is only show, like, and like the real arm wrestlers are like a family. They are friends, and they are just pull and love to pull each other on the table. But rest of time, they are real friends. So yeah,
I think I appreciate that, because I don't like to take away from anybody's victories ever. I was always taught as a kid to be respectful, be a good sport, be humble, and that comes from my dad. I was always brought up like that, and that's how I like to portray, you know, myself, and just be a decent person off and on the table. So I appreciate that from you.
And Dave, if you could have a rematch, would it be Gennady?
I would pull him again. Like I don't have the desire like I did if I was like 15 years ago. I want him right now. I like to pull. I like to pull different people. I like to, you know, just whatever, you know, falls into my lap, and it's the match happens, I'll pull whoever. I just like to go different places, have fun, and I know this big guy in the red shirt wants a rematch too, so I'm sure that'll be coming down the road too sometime.
It's true. Yes, it's true. Of course, they know that I want a rematch, but it will be very friendly, respectful rematch, because, like I said, when you pull with somebody who, in your eyes, like one of representative of something which you really respect, so like a purest power. So you want, of course, you check yourself, you become better or not, to compare, and this will be the real answer for yourself. So that's why, of course, yeah, really motivated to pull with David. It's true.
You say you're friendly now, but you're not very. You're scary on the table. You're scary.
Come on.
I don't know. Why'd you cut your hair?
Oh, you know, it was after the match with you. I actually honestly want to cut the hair like much more earlier, because it's you know, it's hard to go after shower. You need to spend too much time, and it was like,
yeah, I got the same problem. I know,
yeah. And yeah, it was kind of story, and now I just feel cool because summer outside, and with actually your type of hairstyle now the best.
It worked out good for me.
Yeah. It's true.
Yeah, I can confirm that, Dave. He wants definitely a rematch with you. I know he holds you to such a high regard. Like the same night that he lost, we were like eating with Hermes and everybody's like, I want a rematch with Dave. I gotta get, oh my God, he's so strong. He's talking so much. I want a rematch. And on that note, like I remember it's called the ugliest match of arm wrestling of all time between you and Devon in WAL. Oh my God. Just wanted your thoughts about it. What do you think?
It's so embarrassing. I'm embarrassed to watch it. I'm embarrassed to talk about it. It's hideous. Honestly, it's like, all right. So I won. It was, Devin being himself, messing around, trying to hold on and trying to pump your hand up after the win. I was like, whatever. So I get the first win, tries the King's move, and of course I'm gonna gas out eventually. So I'm tired. I'm like, you know what? Screw it. I'm gonna do the King's move too, and it's gonna be the dumbest move in the history, or dumbest match in the history of the world. It's just like, okay, here we go. And I ended up in the King's move, and he ended up in the King's move, and it was god awful. And I hope that never happens again.
Yeah. I remember even the pictures, even the memes. A lot of guys like make the screen, the guys under the table, something like that.
And we deserved that because it was horrible. So I get it. I deserved all the ribbon I got. So.
Oh my God, I'm tearing up. Yeah, I remember, Alex, because like people were screenshotting them both under the table.
Yes. Yeah.
And the caption was like, "This is what peak arm wrestling performance looks like."
Yes, I know.
Oh my God. Okay. Dave, you pulled a lot in WAL. I remember since 2016, 15, 16, I think you almost did all the years in WAL. And you kind of almost always dominated in a super heavyweight. But I remember one year, it was shocking. Like Travis beat you quite convincingly. I remember like he almost flash pinned you. So on that year, was it your shape was off? Was Travis amazing? Was something wrong in the setup? I don't know. Just wanted your thoughts about it.
Nothing wrong with me. WL was very good to me. I think 2014 we started. I went undefeated one, and it was awesome. They used to have like 4 or 5 qualifying tournaments, and I went undefeated. It was awesome. Got to travel all these places. And then same with 2015, I won it, and then I think it was 2016 where Travis beat me. I think that's the year his father passed away. He was motivated. He was awesome that year. So I give him credit, man. He was a beast that year, and he ended up beating me. And then 2017. I took second to him left. I actually started training my left hand. I took second to him left, and then second to Michael right, because we went 1-1, and he beat me in the finals 2-1, which was a fun match too. And then I think then after that they started going to super matches. I think 2018 they started going to super matches after that, after the tournament format. So, but I loved it. I had a great time, great run. They were, Steve was great to me. I hope someday they come back and do it again because it was pretty cool pulling them.
Yeah. I remember because that year the father of Travis passed away. He was a big arm boy. He owned an actual bar with where people were coming there to arm wrestle. That's how Travis got his passion, and it was a strong figure in his life. And yeah, amazing. Dave, your upcoming match with Morzov. He's a youngsters. You're gonna put him in his place, show him who's the veteran, show him who's the easy money.
Yeah, we've gone back and forth a little, some fun trash talk. He's a good guy. I know he is. He's young, he's strong, he's a freak. He's 24 years old, and look at him, he's a monster. I'm just gonna do my thing. I'll be ready. I'm gonna be fired up because I'm old enough to be his dad, and I guess I got to put him in his place. We're gonna see what happens here. So yeah, it's gonna be a fun one.
And I'm so curious about this because people say, for example, Dave Chaffee, when he pulled Denis Blanco, when he was pulling Gennady and so on, like in the past, was a different Dave compared to today. But I would say like size and strength wise, and maybe also weight wise, you're about the same. But who better than you to answer this?
Yeah, size and weight size or weight. I'm pretty much similar. Fluctuate, 5-10 pounds here and there. But it's pretty much the same. The only difference is now I try to top row more, whereas I was more of side. Back in the day, my elbow is kind of trash, so I try. I can do it if I want to. And over the years with injuries, my neck has caused some atrophy in my tricep, a little bit in my bicep and my upper pec. You know, the muscle isn't there. The strength went down a little bit, but most of it came back with some, you know, from training and rehab. So yeah, I'm a different puller. I'm still strong. I'm stronger in some areas, not quite as strong in other areas. So it's kind of here and there, different, little bit different puller, but same size basically.
And how did your pulling style change, like in more specific ways? Because in the past you said you were way more side pressure wise, but now you kind of try to top roll more, right? Is it because of the injuries?
Yeah, basically because of the injury. Basically, I try to stay away from my elbow. I got a lot of elbow pain, and I've worked immensely on my back pressure and hand, and I've got that to a point where that's kind of like my main weapon. I still got the side anytime I want to use it. Definitely do, but I just like, I don't know, I like doing it. It saves on energy and hopefully, you know, time usually, and that's basically why. But it turned into mainly a top rope puller. But I can still hook. I used to love to drag hook. I used to love just dragging and dragging. That was fun. But I'm 45 now. It just, you know, the arm wrestling takes its toll on you after so many years. So.
Yeah, it is true. It's true. It's very special. But hey, we saw John at 58, like doing that crazy thing, and his mind completely mind. And John's father, John Brasing Senior, he's like arm wrestling in his 70s. Like it's crazy, and he's so strong also.
Nuts. Yeah, John, it's unbelievable to be able to do that at 58. I'll be happy to be alive at 58 years old. For him to be able to do that at 58 is incredible. Like that's why he's the best of all time. You know what I mean? It's just to me, there's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. I mean, to do that at that level for so long, it's unbelievable.
And it's, of course, John is the greatest of all time. Top 10 in like, let's say, greatest of all time. A lot of people put you in that list. Dave Chaffee is one of the greatest who ever done it. Would you agree on that? Would you consider yourself in the top 10 greatest of all time?
I mean, that's cool. I'm not the type of guy that's going to rank myself, but that's awesome that people think that, because I've been doing this for 16 years. I put a ton of time of my life to work to be one of the best. So when people say that, it's a great honor for me to hear that people put me in that type of category. So that's awesome.
Yeah, because you and John were the very, very few North Americans who would just regularly go over Europe, face the baddest and strongest, like constantly go there, do tournaments, prove yourself. So that for sure made a big difference. Dave,
I love doing that. I love traveling, and to me, I just want to pull the best. I'm here to pull. You can't be the best unless you pull the best. And traveling to Europe, that's where all the top guys are. So I've always had fun doing it.
So you have that ambition. You want still to be the best in the world today.
It's still there, yeah. It's not. I mean, it's not the burning desire I had, 5-10 years ago, but it's always there. You always have that. I still like to pull the best. Definitely. I take losses hard. I definitely do. I still when I lost to Gennady, I sat back in my hotel. I'm sitting there and I was bummed. My wife's like, "Oh, you did good." And you know how it is when you take a loss. You're like, "Okay, all right. What should I have done this? I should have done this better." So yeah, I definitely take losses hard, but you learn from them and you come back and you do it better the next time. So
Awesome. And let's assume that you spank the little kiddo in the next month at the Morza. Who is your next opponent? You could choose anybody. Who would you like to pull?
Oh, I'd like to pull Hermes next, because we were trying to set it up here, but I don't know what happened. He didn't want to pull me or something, or if he had a better offer. Maybe, I don't know, maybe he's a little tired or sore or something. I don't know. I know. I know Alex wants to pull me, so that'll be in the near future too. So I haven't forgotten about them. So.
Because I remember the same day when you beat Alex, you were going back and forth on Instagram, congratulating each other, and it was like we should set a match, and like everybody wants to see that match. Like Hermes and Dave, everybody wants to see this. So maybe, who knows? Maybe in the future.
Yeah, we've never pulled before, so that's another guy. I love to pull guys. I've never pulled different styles, different matchups. So he's definitely one on the radar for sure.
And just to steer the pot a little bit, how will that go?
Wow. Well, I'd like to say I'd come out on top, obviously, but he's awesome, man. He's powerful. He got that great top roll. I mean, we both do. So I think it would probably go outside, and whoever has either the strongest hand or maybe it'll go inside. I don't know. We'll see. I think it'd be the winner would be the audience because it was going to be a hell of a match actually. So I think that's the winner right there.
Yeah, yeah. I think honestly, this is the most wanted match. Like everybody's talking about it. So yeah.
I'm game. So I know you're friends with them. You know, you let them know I want a match, so you let them know I'm ready.
I will let them know. I will let them know definitely. Hopefully, we can make that happen. Dave, you kind of have the fortune of having Todd Hutchins relatively close to you. I know you're a couple hours away, but every like few and then you can like get together, pull with each other. It's a fortune that a lot of European guys don't have. For example, Alex is like in the middle of Poland. He doesn't have anybody. He just like trains with the weight in the gym, just trying to do his best. And how did that help you to get better at arm wrestling? Do you think arm wrestling on a table with strong opponents is more important than maybe getting stronger in the gym? Should be maybe a bit of both? What do you think on that?
I think you need a mix of both. I definitely think you need the table time, and it definitely helps when you have strong guys to pull with. I've had the fortunate. I have a great team. No one's big and strong, but they'll do whatever they can to help me. Like they use two hands against me, bands. So I mean, if the big guys aren't always there to train with, they're always there to help me out. And I I feel bad because I don't want to hurt them. I don't want to, you know, but they'll take the beating for them, and I give them all the credit in the world. And sometimes I'm like, oh, you okay? I'll hit them real hard. I'm like, oh, you okay? You know what I mean? But I have an awesome team to work with. It's been cool when Todd comes because he's got immense side pressure. We help each other out a lot. So having guys around me it's definitely important. But some people only train with like the weights and stuff and can get good. I think it's a mixture. I think you need a mixture of both to be at the top personally.
Because I don't know, Alex, if you have seen those videos where Dave trains, they are very rare, but it's like him with maybe like a pulley with like 3 elastic bands and like few guys holding him, and like it's crazy. It's like a whole setup to try to
I watched it.
Strong, and like you have to kind of like work around that to be able to get a great workout for Dave because he's actually so strong.
And it's because of the level of the power. Like, you know, it's normal guy needs 1 opponent, Dave needs 3 or 5. that's the answer. Yeah.
Yeah, it is amazing. So strong. And you are the guy who injured Dmitry Trubin's chest, who injured Gennady's wrist. Like, you're the guy who injured a lot of people. Like, he's so strong. Like, it's crazy.
There's been a few other ones. Unfortunately, I injured Todd Hutchings' bicep. We pulled back in 2012, I think, and he tore his bicep. It was bad. Yeah, he's always want. I'm afraid to pull him because I think he wants revenge. I think he wants to hurt me back. To be honest, I think he keeps coming to pull me because he wants to hurt me or something. I don't know.
He's waiting for time to catch up because he looks like he's getting older. Like he's just like the same.
No, he's definitely not getting older. He's getting better and stronger. It's crazy. I don't know what's going on with him. It's insane.
Oh my god! And I know that when he got his bicep reattached, he just wanted to attach a bit lower. Because it's better for arm wrestling. Like have it, it's like for the leverages. It's
crazy.
Yeah. Did you ever break any arms in your career?
I don't think anybody's broken their arm. There's been a couple of practice like a torn bicep and a tricep. I don't think anybody's ever actually broken an arm. That's the worst. I hate that. That's the worst sound, the worst thing. I mean, my arm breaking was awful, but hearing someone else's arm break, that it's just a snapping of a twig, like it's like it's a horrible sound, a horrible thing. I hate that.
Yeah. Unfortunately, I have witnessed one, and it's really, really, really not fun. No. It is true. And I know, Alex, you have done something like this in the past. Is it true? Did you injure somebody?
Yeah, it was in one of first matches. I remember that. Honestly, I feel that they probably even worse than guy who get this because he trying to go probably inside. It was too fast, and maybe it's not about me, but about his movement. It was very dangerous movement for him, and it was some rotation and now broken of chest bone, and it was like his arm goes absolutely not normal, you know. And I remember that like. After that, I was needed 5 or 10 minutes to come back to normal, you know, emotions because I was really sad about him because, you know, it's really unpleasant to hear like sound like Dave says, and you start to understand what happens and what will be for this guy after. You really said about this. He's like in a horrible situation. Sometimes people even don't understand what happens. They just hear the sound. It was not like pain immediately, but later it will be the problem, you know, with work, with everything. So yeah, it's horrible situation when it's happened. But sometimes in actually in amateurs tournaments it happens because guys just don't know like properly to pull and where need to not to pull. You know, it's also about that.
Yeah,
That's the thing. Other people don't realize that. You know, people have jobs outside of this. So you break your arm, you're out of work. You know what I mean? You got a family to take care of, and there's a lot of stuff that goes into it. And he's also right with when you don't feel it right away. When I broke my arm, I didn't even know what happened. It it just goes like this. And I remember I was pulling Doug Allen. He's like, "Oh, I'm sorry, man." I looked down, my arm's like hanging. I'm like, "Oh, it's not your fault." You know what I mean? And I didn't feel it then, but about a minute later, it sets in. You're like, "Oh man, this hurts." So yeah, not fun for anybody.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Yeah, because we forget like a lot of time the arm wrestlers are not pros. Like they have work on the side, they have jobs they do. Except like for example, Marcio, he works in construction, he has family, kids. Like respect so much for the guys who do this.
Like honestly, probably everyone. Like I don't know, it's not too many guys who leave from arm wrestling. Like everyone has some job, something, and only few guys in the world like have it like a job, yeah. And it does mean, for example, that's also troubles for guys who have like even pain, but even if he broke his arm, it's troubles in the job usually, yeah.
So we have a super chat. It's probably by a less experienced fan, but he's asking, Dave, when you are pumped, are you allowed to use some roller or a rubber ball to massage your forearm at a super match? Would that even help with the pumping?
I mean, I've seen. I think you can. I've seen some people use stuff like that. Maybe it would help. I don't know, but yeah, that might be a good idea actually to look into something like that.
Okay, Dave, we are almost at your time limit. I will just ask you the few last questions, and then we will let you go.
Sure.
So, what is your predictions for Jerry and Gennady?
Man, that's a tough one. If Jerry can get in his spot, and get Gennady out of his spot, in an odd position where he's not used to being, Jerry's got a shot. But if Gennady has a good counter to his move, which he very good, a good idea, he might, because he's a smart puller, he knows what he's doing, then it'll go to Gennady. But I think it's a 50-50 coin flip. It could go either way.
Because we spoke with Levan, and Levan was like, there is literally zero chance Jerry has even a remote possibility of winning against Jerry. But it's like, have you seen Jerry lately? He looks like a truck.
He's looking big, real big. And he hasn't pulled in a while, but he's big. He looks real big. So it's going to be interesting to see.
Yeah, it's true. And have you ever pulled with Jerry?
Yeah, I've pulled him a bunch of different times. I beat him in like 3 different like finals, the WL super matches. Like I'm like 6 or 7-0 against Jerry. He's not. He's. I'm kind of like a bad opponent for him, I think. But against, I kind of figured him out, sort of. And with my side, I was able to get him where I wanted to be. But if he's fast enough and he gets you where he wants to be, you're in big trouble. But I've been fortunate, lucky to come out on top against him. So.
Yeah, because oh my God, with all that pressure and he puts his weight behind it, it's
that's a lot. That's a lot of power. I would not want to be on this side of the table against him, because your bicep could go. Yeah, he's strong.
Yeah, he's a big guy, but also very. He has a lot of endurance. I remember his match with Todd in the WEL was like last 8, like an hour, like all the rounds.
Yeah, you can just sit there for 3 days straight, just holding it there. It's insane, you know.
Yeah, you cannot not love Jerry. It's like all sweating, and he does the thing with the tongue, and it's so fun.
He's sticking his tongue out and stuff.
Yeah.
I will definitely ask him about that. Okay, and what do you think about the great John Berzank versus the very lethal Kidirgali Ungarbayev?
I think, man, Ungarbayev, I haven't seen too much of him lately, but he was a few years ago. He was pretty incredible, fast top roller. I think it'll end up going to the straps. I think John will be able to contain him once it goes to the straps. I think it'll be John's match. I think 3-1, 3-0. I think John will win it. That's my prediction.
Absolutely, America for the win. And one great match is going to be between Todd Hutchins and Evgeny Prudnik.
That's another one, man. That's probably my favorite one. I'm looking forward to watching. That's a lot of power on the table right there. I know Prudnik. I'm pretty sure he beat him the last time they pulled. It was like 2018 or 19, and I think it was Moldova or something. I think they pulled. I want to say, if I'm not mistaken. But Todd's gotten so much better than he was then. I think he's bigger now. I think Todd can take him with his side pressure. I think if it doesn't go in a hook, I think Prudnik will try to take his hand because he can do that too. And it's just, I think it'll be a war. I'm rooting for Todd to win, but I think it'll be a war.
Have you ever pulled with Evgeny?
Only when he was like 100. I pulled him in the A1 like in 2014 when he was 195 pounds. So that really doesn't count. You know what I mean? He's a lot bigger and stronger now. So I'm not going to count that match. Yeah.
So I assume you kind of won him very easily.
Yeah, kind of. Yeah.
There is a Cobra Rhodes in the chat in the live, like so many people watching. It's amazing. And he's saying, Dave, you once hurt my feeling in an overall. And so
that was a long time ago. He's probably talking about like 2008 or something like that. I remember that. That was a long time ago. I was super pumped to win that because I was pretty new. I was a couple years in the sport, and I pulled Cobra in the overall, and I definitely had to work. I beat him, but I worked for it. It was pretty cool to beat him. I was like, oh man, I got to win on Cobra Rhodes. I was pretty pumped. So that was awesome.
Yeah. And honestly, it's amazing that now arm wrestling is growing. Everybody knows the sport. Larry, thanks to Larry, to Devon, to everybody. Everybody knows the big athletes of America, of current era. But it's also at the same time sad that maybe people don't know who actually Cobra Rhodes was. He is such a legend of the past, like all these guys who was like forgotten legend of the past. And it would be nice like for people to actually know who they were and the history of arm wrestling. Cobra.
Yeah, if people watch videos of Cobra back in the day, man, they'd be like, "Holy shit, he was incredible back then." Watching him, just the speed and the power was absurd. So if you don't know Cobra Rhodes, look him up and watch some videos. He was awesome.
Yeah. Neil, we had a conversation with him, and he holds him to such a high regard. They say he's so great that even when he enters the room, people say he smells good. Okay, Dave, I don't want to keep you too longer. We're almost at 50 minutes, almost 1 hour. So I'm sure that you have things to do, prisoners to keep an eye on. So Dave, it was great. Thank you so much for giving us your time. It was an amazing conversation, and I hope to see you soon in Istanbul. And I wish you the best, and I'm sure that you're going to win.
You're welcome. Appreciate it. Thanks for having me on. I'll definitely be in Istanbul. Looking forward to it.
Thank you. Thank you one more time, Dave, for amazing conversation and for that you're doing for arm wrestling and for everything, like not on the table, but also out of the table. And best wishes in your upcoming match with Morozov. So
thanks.
Be just yourself, and I'm sure.
When's your next match? When's your next match?
My next match probably should be in September, but I cannot say too much because it's not set already. We are waiting, and hopefully in nearest time, like the names will be on the list.
Gotcha.
But remember that you are my favorite opponent for Untitled. I will be waiting.
Am I on that list or what?
I definitely, for me, definitely yes. But for organizers, they like always, they are big bosses. We need to also count of the opinions.
Is that going to randomly show up at your door one day with an arm wrestling table? Dave, we have to figure this out. Let's pull this. Let's go.
I like that idea.
Yeah.
All right, Dave, you take care.
Thank you. Have a good one.
Yeah. See you. See you guys.
All right.